In this video, I share highlights from a new Elon Musk interview which spans a range of topics including whether or not one day it might be possible to upload our mind, including our personality and memories, to the Tesla humanoid robot, plus an estimate on when we'll see the first prototype Tesla bot, Neuralink, Starlink, the Russia-Ukraine conflict, nuclear power, taking risks, philanthropy, human longevity, Elon's most urgent goals, his biggest fears, thoughts on AI, religion, and plenty more. So let's get into it. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoy these videos, there's a bunch of ways you can support the channel, access exclusive content and perks, and get some free stocks and crypto. Check out the links in the pinned comment below. You can get 2 free stocks with WeBull, a free stock with Stake, free Bitcoin with Coinbase, and free Bitcoin with BlockFi, and the BlockFi Bitcoin Rewards credit card. You can also pick up some Tesla, Elon, and investment themed merch in the merch store. If you want to take it to the next level, join thousands of members on Patreon to gain exclusive access to over 100 Q&A videos, loads of exclusive content, exclusive access to my up-to-date 10-year Tesla stock price targets, and even access my Tesla valuation model at the investor support level and above. So check out the links in the pinned comment below, and thanks for your support. Okay, let's get straight into it. The first question is regarding Putin's invasion of Ukraine. What does Elon Musk think? Elon's response, quote, "It is surprising to see that in this day and age. I thought we had sort of moved beyond such things for the most part. It is concerning. No shit, Sherlock. If you can get away with it, then this will be a message to other countries that perhaps they could get away with it too." Elon makes a very important point. Next question, has Elon been surprised by Putin's behavior? Elon responding, quote, "My best guess was that he would seek to capture the eastern third of the country. Frankly, if you just listen to the rhetoric, it is clear that he was going after at least portions of Ukraine that have a significant percentage of Russian speakers. He did that already in Georgia." And now some comments from Musk regarding the Starlink contribution to Ukraine. Quote, "We did think that Starlink might be needed, and we took some preemptive actions to ensure that it could be provided quickly. When the request came, we acted very rapidly. It is worth noting that the satellite internet connectivity of Ukraine was taken offline by a cyber attack on the day of the invasion, permanently." Let's take a quick break here to understand the implications. Day one of the invasion, what's the most important thing to do? That's right, take out communication of the enemy. So it's amazing to hear that SpaceX and Starlink, as soon as there was concern about this happening, thought, oh shit, hang on, this could be bad. You know what? They might need our Starlink services. Let's be ready to do that if requested. The cell towers are either being blown up or they are being jammed. There is a major fiber backbone which the Russians are aware of. It was quite likely that they will sever that fiber link. This would leave Ukraine with very few connections open. So Starlink might be, certainly in some parts of Ukraine, the only connection. Take a moment to think of the implications here. How profound the help Starlink has been able to provide the Ukraine. Just imagine if Russia was able to take all communications within Ukraine on day one of the invasion. Things would be playing out very differently. Name a single company that's made more of a positive contribution in terms of helping Ukraine fight the Russian invasion than SpaceX's Starlink. Oh wait, no I won't, no point, because there isn't one, not even close. Elon is asked a great question. What happens if the Russians and Chinese are targeting satellites? Is that also a threat for Starlink? Now before we go any further, I just want to share a very interesting interaction from Elon Musk about 6 months ago on Twitter. Quote, "Our satellites launching in the next few months have inter-satellite laser links, so no local downlink is needed, probably active in 4 to 6 months. Follow-up question for Elon Musk, how does transmitting into a country without a local downlink work on the regulatory side? Elon Musk responding in classic style, "They can shake their fist at the sky." Hopefully that gives some important context to Elon Musk's philosophy and thoughts about providing a service that is much needed to parts of the world with or without approval. So Elon's response, "It was interesting to view the Russian anti-satellite demonstration a few months ago in the context of this conflict." Now this is a very good point, because that caused a lot of strife for satellite operators. It even had some danger for the space station where there are Russian cosmonauts. So why did they do that? It was a message in advance of the Ukrainian invasion. If you attempt to take out Starlink, this is not easy because there are 2,000 satellites, and wait for it ladies and gentlemen, this gets juicy. That means a lot of anti-satellite missiles. I hope we do not have to put this to a test, but I think we can launch satellites faster than they can launch anti-satellite missiles. He really said that. By the way, I hope they don't need to test it out either, but this is good to know. With knowledge, products and services, Elon Musk is almost a strategic weapon in modern warfare. How do you see a role in that context? Elon responding, "I think I can be helpful in conflicts." Massive understatement. "I try to take a set of actions that are most likely to improve the probability that the future will be good. And obviously, I sometimes make mistakes in this regard. I do whatever I think is most likely to ensure that the future is good for humanity. Those are the actions that I will take." Simple, but very powerful philosophy. Elon's also asked about a book on World War I entitled Storm of Steel by Ernst Junger, which he discussed with the interviewer a few months ago. Elon is asked, "Why is that book so important for you?" Elon responding, "I read a lot of books." Me too. "And for some reason, I'm fascinated by war and history in general. It's not just history of war, but just history in general. Junger's book is an excellent personal account of World War I. The lesson taken from that book is we don't ever want to do that again. Nobody is reading that book and says, I want to do that too. For me, it is just fascinating to read about history. Learn the lessons of history, such that we do not repeat the mistakes of the past. Wise words. To paraphrase a well-known quote, those who do not learn from history are doomed to repeat it. Brilliant point, and unfortunately from my own observations, I personally believe that the majority of people out there in the general public aren't interested in reading history, let alone learning any lessons. Hence, we see a lot of things happening over and over and over and over again. Now some discussion around nuclear energy, Germany, and some of the brain-dead decisions made in the recent past. From Elon, quote, "It is very important that Germany will not shut down its nuclear power stations. I think this is extremely crazy." I agree with Elon, but I would call it completely fucking brain-dead. I think Elon is a little bit more delicate in his terminology. Elon continues, quote, "I want to be super clear. You should not only not shut down the nuclear power plants, but you should also reopen the ones that have already shut down. Those are the fastest to produce energy. It is crazy to shut down nuclear power plants now." Completely agree. In fact, I wouldn't say crazy, I would say completely fucking brain dead. Especially if you are in a place where there are no natural disasters. If you are somewhere where severe earthquakes or tsunamis occur, it is more of a question mark. There is no massive natural disaster risk, which Germany does not have, then there is really no danger with nuclear power plants. Accurate statements, but of course, ask 100 people in the general public, what do they think? You're probably going to get a very different answer. Too many people inherit their opinions and beliefs rather than doing their homework. Most people think nuclear is unsafe, it's dangerous, meltdowns happen all the time, on and on and on and on. Not the case. Unfortunately, the scare campaigns have been very, very successful at changing the minds of the sheep out in the general public who don't like to think for themselves. As a result, around 2 decades ago, Germany made the completely brain-dead decision of decommissioning their nuclear power plants without even a single moment of consideration to the potential implications for national security. It seems it was quite a few standard deviations beyond the folks making these decisions to first think about, hang on, if we're generating all this energy from nuclear in our own country and we decommission that, where do we replace that energy from? We can't make it ourselves. We're going to have to get it from somewhere else. I guess we'll need some fossil fuels, including natural gas and oil from Russia. Maybe the Saudis as well. Definitely nothing to worry about there whatsoever. So yep, proceed. Shut down the nuclear power plants. This certainly won't blow up in our faces in the future. Elon continues, quote, "I think long term, most of civilization's energy is going to come from solar, and then you need to store it with battery because obviously the sun only shines during the day, and sometimes it's very cloudy. That will be the main long-term way that civilization is powered. But between now and then, we need to maintain nuclear. I can't emphasize that enough. This is total madness to shut them down. I want to be clear, total madness." And he's not wrong. Like I said, completely fucking brain dead. It hurts my brain to imagine how it's possible to be so blind and or stupid. Let me try to put in context just how dumb this is. Imagine somebody one day attempts to murder you. You somehow escape, but it was a close one. A few days later, you run into the exact same person, the person who literally tried to kill you a few days ago. And you decide to go and say, "Hello, hi, you're the person that tried to kill me, right? Great, perfect, I've got a really good idea. I'm just going to handcuff myself and tie my legs and hog tie myself as well. You might need to give me a hand getting hog tied. So I'm completely helpless and dependent upon you, very vulnerable, at huge risk. Obviously, nothing could go wrong. It's not like you tried to murder me recently. It's not like I've seen any evidence of potential behaviors that might come up again in the future, so nothing to worry about whatsoever. Please, let's cuff me and tie me up." Interviewer responding, "Let's see if these very clear words are heard in Germany." Elon responding, "I would say this is a national security risk, and I would say Elon Musk is right. Difficult to understand how anyone wouldn't see this." And now some of Elon's thoughts about the imminent population implosion. Quote, "Most people in the world are operating under the false impression that we've got too many people." By the way, isn't this hilarious, right? A few moments ago, I'm talking about all the idiots in the world who think nuclear power is bad, dangerous, unsafe, etc. Just completely off the mark. This is another perfect example. Elon is right. Yet most people in the world today, there's too many people, we don't have enough. This is not true. The birth rate has been dropping like crazy. Elon is right. Feel free, look up the statistics yourself. There's a correlation between people having information/education, increasing incomes, improving health, and declining birth rates. The more information and resources people have on average, the less children they have. We can look to the most developed parts of the world to see birth rates below replacement rate. There's many other parts of the world, poorer areas today where the birth rate is very high, but we see the exact same declining pattern in birth rate over time. Everywhere we look, there aren't exceptions here. As the rising billions are lifted out of poverty in the coming decades, global birth rates are going to collapse. And for some strange reason, the general public is completely unaware of this. The data's there, it's obvious what's happening. Unfortunately, we have these ridiculous population estimates from the UN that need to be updated because they just don't make any sense. Just look at the growth rate last year. See how many kids were born and multiply that by the life expectancy. I would say that is how many people will be alive in the future. No shit, Sherlock. And then say, is the trend for birth rates positive or negative? It is negative. That is the best case, unless something changes for the birth rate. Elon Musk asked about AI and the Tesla humanoid robot. Quote, With respect to AI and robotics, of course, I see things with some trepidation, because I certainly don't want to have anything that could potentially be harmful to humanity. But humanoid robots are happening. Look at Boston Dynamics. They do better demonstrations every year. The rate of advancement of AI is very rapid. Elon also asked a question, outside of Tesla's own factories, what else will the Optimus bot be used for? Musk responding, Optimus is a general purpose sort of worker droid. The initial role must be in work that is repetitive, boring, or dangerous. Basically, work that people don't want to do. And spoiler alert, then work that people actually enjoy doing, and then eventually, possibly, all work that people ever did. Just saying. Remember, it's not just the humanoid form. The foundations of artificial general intelligence will also be in Tesla's bot over time, just like Tesla's full self-driving software gets better with fleet learning. So too, the bot's artificial intelligence. On the scale of intelligence, Tesla's humanoid robot will first be somewhere around the Tesla Q level, then eventually progress to brain dead, then potato, then way below average, then below average, then above average, next minute, well above average, next minute genius, next minute smarter than all of humanity combined. It will take a little time, but this is a path we're on. And the smarter Tesla bot gets, the more capable it gets, the more valuable it becomes. As for why Tesla's bot has 2 legs, aka in humanoid form, Elon saying, quote, haha, 4 legs good, 2 legs bad. Kind of reminds me of Orwell, Elon clearly referencing Animal Farm. Humanity has designed the world to interact with a bipedal humanoid with 2 arms and 10 fingers. So if you want to have a robot fit in and be able to do things that humans can do, it must be approximately the same size and shape and capability. This is the exact same line of reasoning as to why if you're developing autonomous software to drive cars around, you're going to do so with a vision-based system, since the entire fucking road network is already designed for a vision-based system attached to a neural network, our human brain. Do you think that Optimus is going to play a role in our daily life, helping us in the household and things like that? Elon Musk answering, yes, a general focused humanoid. Elon continues, quote, I think we will have something pretty good at the prototype level this year, and it might be ready for at least a moderate volume production toward the end of next year. Mind fucking blown. This is an extremely aggressive timeline, typical of Tesla and Elon Musk. And I'm not one to bet against Tesla, so I'm not going to say this won't happen, but I will be very impressed if it does. In my Tesla valuation model, which produces my price targets, I have the first Tesla bots in production in 2025. Elon's thinking late 23. Let me know your guess in the comments below. What year will Tesla first begin volume production of the Tesla bot? You said the potential is bigger than the potential of Tesla. If that is true, then it must be a really mass market product. But anyway, Optimus is also an answer to the problem of dropping birth rates. If we have not enough human people, we need more bots to get work done. Elon responding, Optimus will be helpful with respect to dropping growth rates, but if these things continue, then what happens? Humanity dies out. Is that what we want? Good question. I sure fucking don't. Now on to Neuralink. Quote, Neuralink in the short term is just about solving brain injuries, spinal injuries, and that kind of thing. So for many years, Neuralink's products will just be helpful to someone who has lost the use of their arms or legs or has a traumatic brain injury of some kind. That is what Neuralink will be useful for many years. Make sure you're sitting down for this, the interviewer asks Elon, quote, could you imagine that one day we would be able to download our human brain capacity into an Optimus? Elon Musk saying, I think it is possible. Of course, Elon is not wrong. There's nothing within the laws of physics that suggests this would not be possible in the future. It's nice to hear Elon say it out loud. Let me know in the comments below. When the time is right, when this can be done successfully, would you upload your consciousness, your mind, into a bot or some other form? Elon continues. Yes, we could download the things that we believe make ourselves so unique. Now, of course, if you're not in that body anymore, that is definitely going to be a difference. But as far as preserving our memories, our personality, I think we could do that. Just take a moment, let that one sink in. He is right, like I said, nothing in the laws of physics that says this isn't possible. Just a matter of time. And I'm doing my best to live long enough to see this become a reality. Next question, quote, the singularity moment that the inventor and futurist Ray Kurzweil has, I think, predicted for 2025 is approaching fast. Is this timeline still realistic? I don't think it was 25, I think closer to 2035 or 2040. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments below. It's been a while since I've read Kurzweil's books and I haven't kept up with his latest predictions. Anyway, Elon's response. I'm not sure if there is a very sharp boundary. I think it is much smoother. There is already so much compute that we outsource. Our memories, by the way, super true. I don't know what the fuck I would do without the technology today that allows me to dump a lot of things, save things, not have to remember things. I don't know what I'd do. Our memories are stored in our phones and computers with pictures and video. Computers and phones amplify our ability to communicate, enabling us to do things that would have been considered magical. He's right. Go back in time just 100 years. Bring your iPhone with you. Watch people freak the fuck out and burn you at the stake because they think you're a demon, possessed, a witch or something like that. Now you can have two people have a video call basically for free on opposite sides of the world. It's amazing. It is. We've already amplified our human brains massively with computers. It could be an interesting ratio to roughly calculate the amount of compute that is digital divided by the amount of compute that is biological. And how does that ratio change over time? With so much digital compute happening so fast, that ratio should be increasing rapidly. If anyone got lost in the terminology, Elon's basically suggesting it'd be fun to figure out what proportion of thinking compute is done on Earth in human brains versus via computers. Elon Musk regarding Starship's proposed Earth-to-Earth rapid transport system. The landing will be loud, so you will probably be connecting cities that are next to oceans or seas, so you can land far enough offshore that the landing noise is not disturbing to people. By the way, let me know in the comments below who would be interested in using Starlink's point-to-point transport system. If I can travel internationally anywhere on Earth within an hour or so, sign me up. Now, some of Elon's thoughts on longevity. Quote, I don't think we should try to have people live for a really long time. That would cause asphyxiation of society because the truth is, most people don't change their mind. They just die. Fair point. So if they don't die, we will be stuck with old ideas and society wouldn't advance. I think we already have quite a serious issue with the gerontocracy where the leaders of so many countries are extremely old. This is a very important point. Elon Musk's spitting facts. In the US, it's a very, very ancient leadership. Fair, and it is just impossible to stay in touch with people if you are many generations older than them. The founders of the USA put minimum ages for a local office, but they did not put maximum ages because they did not expect that people will be living so long. They should have, because for a democracy to function, the leaders must be reasonably in touch with the bulk of the population. And if you're too young or too old, you can't stay, I think he means in touch. And while Elon has a fair point here, I completely agree, I'm also far too selfish to actually personally take one for the team, and I plan on living as long as I possibly can, doing everything I can to literally extend my longevity, my health span. I mean, even just right now, just here's some, look, resveratrol, NMN. Why are they even on my desk? Recently took them. I'm very, very serious about living long enough to have the possibility of living forever. This is why I'm not a fat motherfucker. This is why I prioritize my health. This is why I exercise regularly. This is why I do everything I possibly can to optimize my health. This is why I track my sleep. I'm fanatical about optimizing my health, energy, and longevity. Let me know in the comments below if you're planning on taking one for the team and just carking it around age 80 or so. I think that might be an Australian expression, I don't know. Or are you doing your best to optimize your health and extend your healthy human lifespan? Elon is asked, is there a kind of ideal maximum age? How old would you like to get? Elon Musk responding, I think for political leadership, you want to be ideally within 10 or at least 20 years of the average age of the population. And for me, I certainly would like to maintain health for a longer period of time, but I am not afraid of dying. And if you ever needed a hint at how fucking relentlessly hard Elon Musk has been working his entire life, how exhausting that work really is, Elon Musk on the thought of dying, I think it would come as a relief. How do you feel being at a net worth of around $260 billion, perceived as the richest person on Earth? Elon Musk responding, I do think that Putin is significantly richer than me. You really do? Elon Musk, yeah. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. I have absolutely no idea. Now, some thoughts on risk. Quote, there have been many times when I expected to lose everything. Who starts a car company and a rocket company expecting them to succeed? Certainly not me. I had less than 10% chance of success. After the third failure of SpaceX in 2008, I knew that if the fourth launch failed, SpaceX would be dead. We had no money for the fifth launch. Tesla's been on the verge of bankruptcy many times. We even closed on the last day of the financing round in 2008. Remember, back then General Motors and Chrysler had gone bankrupt and Ford was on the brink of it. So imagine trying to raise money for an electric car startup while General Motors was going bankrupt. I mean, he's got a point. People were very angry that I even asked, but we were able to raise just enough money to squeak by and closed the financial round for Tesla on the last hour of the last possible day in 2008, Christmas Eve. Had we not closed the round then, we would have gone bankrupt 2 days after Christmas. Just want to take a real quick moment to discuss Tesla being on the verge of bankruptcy multiple times. The only real, in my opinion, legitimate threat to Tesla potentially actually going bankrupt was back in 2008. Following that, not really an option. Elon is being completely honest when he talks about Tesla being on the brink of bankruptcy. The nuance matters. The nuance is this. Sure, there's been multiple points during the company's history where Elon Musk could do the math and go, oh, we've got this much cash, our burn rate's this, shit, we're going to run out of cash. We're on the verge of bankruptcy. But of course, what do you do at that point in time? You go raise more capital. You do whatever you need to do to keep the company going. Sure, production hell, major problem, but here's how that would have played out in the worst case scenario if Tesla absolutely fucked things up with the Model 3 ramp and it was an absolute disaster. They sheepishly need to go to the market or some of their early investors and say, hey guys, we need to raise capital. They dilute shareholders, they raise some capital, and they soldier on. There's certainly been times where things were tight, there were problems that needed to be solved, but it's important to understand where Elon's coming from here. Elon was also asked about philanthropy, donating to charity, and so on. Quote, I do want to emphasize that SpaceX and Tesla fundamentally intend to improve the quality of the future, especially in terms of usefulness to humanity. Tesla by accelerating sustainable energy, and SpaceX by making multiplanetary intercourse possible. There's definitely been some translations going on here. There's no way Elon said intercourse. They obviously mean travel. That being said, who's down for some multiplanetary intercourse? Sign me up. I heard this guy can give me a few pointers. When it comes to donations, I'd say it's very difficult to give away money effectively. Elon has a point. If you care about the reality of doing good and not the perception of doing good, then it is very hard to give away money effectively. I care about reality. Perception be damned. This is why Elon is concentrating most of his resources into world, species-changing companies, SpaceX and Tesla, rather than just giving away his money to somebody else to do some good. Of course, we do know Elon donated over $5 billion to charity last year. Maybe the Musk Foundation, who knows? So there's obviously environmental causes, there is education, especially science and engineering education, pediatric healthcare. Hunger these days is more of a political and logistics problem than it is not having enough food. There is a lot of food. In the US and many countries, the issue is more obesity than hunger is. So I'm always looking for ways to give away money that are effective. Elon was also asked about the most urgent things he wants to achieve. In the short run, the most pressing thing is completing full self-driving so that we have full self-driving operating at a substantially safer level than humans. Basically, it comes down to solving the problem of real-world AI. Obviously, there are enormous implications in solving real-world AI. That consumes a lot of my mind. And getting Starship to work, not only getting it to orbit, but achieving rapid reusability, which is really the holy grail of rocketry that is necessary for humanity to become a multi-planet species. And I think those things might happen this year. Big news, obviously, take Elon Musk timelines with the Mount Everest-sized grain of salt. But Elon Musk thinks there's a possibility that Starship's going to be done and full self-driving, safer than human full self-driving, this year. No guarantees, but a promising sign. The interviewer also asked an interesting question and Elon had a fascinating response. Question: anything that you really would like to achieve which you think is going to be impossible? Elon's response: impossible is a strong word. The interviewer responding: you don't like that word? Elon Musk: quote, it's a strong word. I approach things from a physics standpoint and the word impossible is more or less banned in physics. I'm really worried about this birth rate thing. That's been troubling me for many years because I just don't see it turning around. Every year it's worse and I drive my friends crazy with this. Let me know in the comments below if you're doing your part to help with the population collapse. I'm sure not. Elon asked what his biggest fear is. Quote, what are the existential threats that humanity faces? I spent a lot of time talking about the birth rate thing. That might be the single biggest threat to the future of human civilization. Elon ain't fucking around. The single biggest threat to the future of human civilization. And then there's the concern of artificial intelligence going wrong, something that certainly keeps me up at night. I think religious extremism is another concern. Nail on the head. The topic of religious extremism is quite an interesting one. It's something that the media seems to be unwilling to acknowledge. Usually, when there is an attack, an act of violence that has been done in the name of religion, religious extremism. For example, I read this holy book that says I should do this thing to these people, and then they do this thing to these people, as they're instructed to in their holy text, rather than the media describing this as an attack from a religious extremists. Instead, terrorist, not religious extremists. They weren't acting out the instructions in their holy book, even though that's what they did. They said they were doing. No. They're a terrorist. Elon really has a great point. There's a great quote out there. I'm going to try not to butcher it too much. With or without religion, good people can behave well and bad people can do evil things. But for good people to do evil, it takes religion. What is Elon's biggest hope? Quote, my biggest hope is that humanity creates a self-sustaining city on Mars. And last, some thoughts on love. Elon was asked, you have once said, if I'm not in love, I cannot be happy. Are you happy at the moment? Elon's response, quote, I think there are degrees of love, but certainly for one to be fully happy, I think you have to be happy at work and happy in love. So I suppose I'm medium happy. So hope you guys and girls have enjoyed this video. There's always a link in the description to the source. So if you want to read the full interview, there was a lot of snippets I wasn't able to include. This video is already going to be super long. Check it out. And don't forget to sign up to Patreon with the card in the corner or the link in the pinned comment. 1, it supports the channel. 2, you'll gain instant access to over 100 Q&A videos on every topic you can imagine, including religious extremism, longevity, and basically every topic Elon discussed in this interview. Plus, you'll also have exclusive access to my up-to-date Tesla stock price targets. So, I'll see you over there. I'm Stephen Mark Ryan. This is Solving the Money Problem, and I love you all. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoy these videos, there's a bunch of ways you can support the channel, access exclusive content and perks, and get some free stocks and crypto. Check out the links in the pinned comment below. You can get 2 free stocks with WeBull, a free stock with Stake, free Bitcoin with Coinbase, and free Bitcoin with BlockFi, and the BlockFi Bitcoin Rewards credit card. You can also pick up some Tesla, Elon, and investment themed merch in the merch store. If you want to take it to the next level, join thousands of members on Patreon to gain exclusive access to over 100 Q&A videos, loads of exclusive content, exclusive access to my up-to-date 10-year Tesla stock price targets, and even access my Tesla valuation model at the investor support level and above. So check out the links in the pinned comment below, and thanks for your support. And if you're still watching, you're awesome. I read every single comment on this channel and I really appreciate your feedback. So if you've got any thoughts on today's video, questions, comments, or suggestions for a new video, let me know in the comments below. Check the cards on screen now to browse the merch store, join Patreon, or watch the next video.